They often claim that she doesn't care, urging you to move on. But what if I revealed that she truly does care? What if I revealed to you at this very moment that her silence is not a sign of confidence, but rather a manifestation of fear? She's not overlooking you due to having moved on. She's silent because she's in a state of anticipation, observing whether you remain ensnared, still yearning, still engaged in her game. The moment you falter, you validate her suspicions. But today, that comes to a close. If you find yourself here, it's because you've reached your limit. No longer willing to expend your energy on someone who feeds off your responses. You're on the brink of discovering how silence, strategic, deliberate, and unwavering silence, transforms into the most formidable power play. This is the way to turn the tables, the way to make her reconsider everything, and the way to leave with your strength, your self-worth, and your honor. This transcends mere relationships. It encompasses life itself. Control, power, respect. Ultimately, it boils down to a singular truth: your response when someone seeks to challenge you. So settle in, focus, and take note, because by the end of this video, you'll find yourself no longer pursuing anyone. Before we get started, feel free to leave a comment. I refuse to chase anymore. Share it with the world and acknowledge it within yourself. Each day, countless individuals find themselves ensnared in the same predicament. When a cherished individual begins to withdraw, creating a chasm of distance, the entire landscape of emotions shifts dramatically. They catch themselves glued to their phones, spiraling into a whirlwind of thoughts about each interaction, dissecting every word, every pause, every moment of silence. Each and every time they fulfill the expectations placed upon them, and they respond accordingly. This is the issue at hand. Contemporary relationships are shaped by intricate power dynamics. As soon as you respond, you relinquish your grip on the situation. The moment you pursue, you diminish your worth. As soon as you reveal the depth of their absence's impact on you, you grant them all the power. The most influential individuals across various domains, be it business, relationships, or life, understand the importance of restraint in their reactions. They watch closely. They adjust accordingly, and when faced with someone attempting to manipulate them, they take a decisive action that transforms the entire situation. They fall into silence. Today, we will dissect that topic. First and foremost, she expects your response. She withdraws. Her responses come with a certain hesitation. She grows remote, frigid, and abruptly inaccessible. Perhaps she once sent you sweet good morning messages. At this moment, there is silence. Perhaps she once crafted plans. At present, she finds herself perpetually occupied. Yet, she continues to keep an eye on your stories. She continues to seek attention, ensuring that you see her enjoying herself, looking fabulous, and embracing the moment. She anticipates a response from you. She awaits the response. The fleeting moment when your self-discipline wavers. In that fleeting instant when you falter, even just for a heartbeat, and inquire about her troubles, that is her triumph. The instant you respond, she realizes she maintains the upper hand. She understands that you are still by her side, and that signifies she can persist in her game with you, probing the limits of your endurance, measuring how long you can withstand her absence before you shatter. Many men falter. They glance at their phone repeatedly, anticipating, building with each passing moment, hoping for a message to arrive. They dissect the previous conversation, searching for the moment they went astray. They're consumed by fear, believing that if they do not take immediate action, she will vanish from their lives for good. Thus, they initiate contact first. They send 2 messages in a row. They inquire about her well-being. They express regret for actions they never committed. She has no regard for this. She anticipates it. Upon catching sight of it, her interest wanes. A woman engages in these games only with a man she has yet to fully commit to, a man she continues to evaluate, a man she holds in only partial regard. She seeks to discover whether you're the kind of man who requires her approval to feel complete. Once you reveal your feelings to her, it's game over. Now she's not merely retreating, she is in motion. You have just conveyed to her in the most unmistakable manner that her focus is essential to your very existence. Without it, you unravel completely. Women do not pursue men who crumble under pressure. They pursue those who remain indifferent to their presence. She may believe she has unraveled your complexities. She may believe she has seen this scenario unfold in the past. She anticipates your response, seeking validation of your value, hoping you'll make an effort to draw her back into your world. But in those moments when you choose not to respond, when silence envelops you, when you convey that her absence leaves you untouched, that's precisely when she begins to feel the weight of it. And that sensation, that is uncertainty. It is doubt that shatters her confidence. Uncertainty is what leads her to reevaluate all her beliefs regarding you.
Uncertainty lingers in her mind, prompting the question, did I misjudge him? Is he truly moving forward? Have I truly let go of a man who was deserving of my efforts? And uncertainty is what draws her return. However, the truth is that many men fail to grasp. When she finally comes to this understanding, the moment has slipped away from her grasp. The man she was evaluating has vanished. The version of you that would have pursued, the one who would have succumbed to the burden of her silence, is no longer present. You have transformed into the very embodiment of her deepest fears, a man beyond her grasp. Your silence shatters her grip. Silence can be utterly chilling. It explains the challenges individuals face when it comes to solitude. It is the very reason for the existence of social media. It explains why individuals immerse themselves in diversions, avoiding the stillness that forces them to confront their own reflections. Your silence compels her to mirror that very stillness. She anticipated your pursuit. She anticipated your affirmation. She anticipated that you would continue to demonstrate your worth. At this moment, now she is glancing at her phone more frequently than you do. She seeks evidence of your lingering affection. She scrolls through your old messages, reliving the last conversation you had, searching for the moment she lost hold of you. She may put on a facade of indifference. She could share a photo with another guy, enjoy outings with her friends, and ensure you notice that she's embracing her best life. Yet beneath the surface, she remains in anticipation. She stands on the precipice of hope, eager to discover if her efforts have borne fruit. She's eager to find out if she still holds that sway over you. Yet, in the absence of that notification, when you remain still, when you make no effort to reach out, that's precisely when the anxiety begins to creep in. Now she finds herself in a position of helplessness. Just as you once anticipated her response, she is now finding herself eagerly waiting yours. Just as you once experienced that tension while waiting for her response, she is feeling it herself. Just as you once pondered whether she was drifting away, she now finds herself wondering if you already slipped away. It is that very fear that draws her back once more. However, this is where many men often go wrong. She'll shoot you a message, something laid back, something straightforward, just to gauge your interest. She won't admit to missing you. She refuses to acknowledge her mistake. She refuses to offer an apology. She'll merely dispatch a message that is ambiguous, something that poses no risk. Hello, I trust you are well. How have you been faring? This is a test. The majority of men do not succeed. The moment they lay eyes on the text, a spark ignites within them. They believe this is the moment. In that instant, she understood the error of her ways. Responses come in mere seconds. They make an attempt to revive the dialogue. They believe victory is theirs. Yet the instant her eyes catch that swift response, she realizes you remain hers. And just like that, she vanishes once more, for the simple reason that she would never return for you. She was returning to reclaim her sense of self. She simply required the reassurance that you remained in anticipation. That concludes everything. Now that she is aware, there's no longer a need for her to engage with you. The most powerful reaction is often one that remains unvoiced. If she genuinely wishes to return, she will make the necessary effort. She will craft a thoughtful message. She will express her regret over losing you. Yet, until that moment arrives, there is only silence. For it is in silence that uncertainty takes root. It is the uncertainty that drives her pursuit. However, this is where it gets truly exciting. When she finally gathers the courage to pursue, you've vanished into the distance. Now you no longer require her approval. Your life has been constructed in her absence. You have centered your attention on your own journey. You have cultivated a resilient mindset, elevated your self-worth, and developed confidence that stands independent of her presence. And when she finally understands what she has lost, when she is prepared to take the steps she never dared to take before, when she yearns to show you her worth, it is already too late. For now she finds herself in pursuit of a phantom. Thirdly, she will begin to question her own abilities. She believed she possessed an endless expanse of time. She believed you would forever remain, patiently waiting, yearning, hovering just beyond her notice, poised to leap at the faintest hint that she might still hold you in her heart. She assured herself that regardless of what she did, regardless of the time she spent turning away from you, regardless of the countless challenges she presented, you would remain steadfastly by her side. And now the stillness is overwhelming. A subtle change stirs within her, a faint whisper of doubt that begins as nearly imperceptible, yet gradually intensifies. It begins with a straightforward idea. What could be the reason for his silence? A spark of intrigue. Then the question arises, has he truly moved on? The flicker evolves into a palpable tension. Then the question arises, was I mistaken about him? And that tension evolves into something even more potent, fear. Apprehension that she may have erred in her calculations. Apprehension that she had taken on too many assumptions.
A lingering dread of having relinquished control. Nothing rattles a woman quite like the dawning awareness that she may have allowed something precious to slip away from her grasp. In her view, men ought to embody a sense of predictability. She believes that by withdrawing, the instinctive reaction will be for you to pursue her more fervently. She anticipates that you will stand up for her. She anticipates your pleas, your attempts to mend the situation. However, you did not. You remained quiet. Your absence is now total. You bestowed upon her a gift she had never anticipated, the allure of the unknown. The unknown stands as the most formidable force in existence, for in the realm of uncertainty, it takes hold of everything. It's the very reason individuals find it hard to refrain from glancing at their phones when anticipating a reply. The very reason that cliffhangers in films captivate viewers. The very same reason individuals become captivated by the pursuit. The mind cannot endure unresolved inquiries. Now she finds herself on a quest for answers. She begins to peruse your social media, not merely once, but with an almost obsessive fervor. She is inquiring whether you are currently online. She's observing for any shifts, fresh images, new bonds, and revitalized energy. She may not engage with your posts, but she is watching. Though she may not send a message, her thoughts are undoubtedly engaged. As your silence stretches on, the doubt gnaws ever deeper at her confidence. She visits her friends, the very ones who assured her, he'll return, they always do. The very individuals who chuckled at the notion that you were merely another man unable to escape her allure. Yet now even they find themselves questioning. The more time passes without a response, the more undeniable the truth becomes. She is no longer necessary for you. And that fills her with dread. For now, the balance of power has changed. At this moment, she finds herself in a state of self-doubt. Nothing can send a woman into a tailspin quite like the grip of self-doubt. She begins to revisit each encounter in her mind, probing for the moment she faltered, the final message she dispatched, the last moment you shared, the concluding dialogue you exchanged. Everything begins to take on a new perspective in her thoughts. As she contemplates it further, a truth she had long resisted begins to surface within her mind. She underestimated your value. She believed she had you secured. She believed she would always have the option to return when the time was right. She believed you were just like all the others who came before, yearning for her approval. Yet now, doubt has begun to creep in. This uncertainty does not remain confined within her thoughts. It seeps into her every move. Out of the blue, she's exploring the possibilities. She may not directly express that she longs for your presence. Her pride stands in the way. Yet she will begin to engage in small actions, casting delicate hints, seeking any indication that she remains connected to you. She'll appreciate a vintage photograph. She'll shoot off a laid-back message. She'll make an offhand remark about something unexpected. Perhaps she might inadvertently dispatch a message intended for another, merely to gauge your reaction. And the feeble man succumbs to the lure. He spots the tiny breadcrumb and leaps into action. He contemplates, this is the moment. This is the moment she comes to understand that she desires my return. As soon as he extends his hand, at the moment he offers her the slightest hint that he remains hopeful, she retreats once more. At last, she possesses the clarity she sought. She truly has no desire to return.
She merely required the reassurance that she was still capable. She merely sought to affirm to herself that you remained accessible, that you still held affection, that you were still a possibility. As soon as she acknowledges it, she vanishes once more, for it was never centered around you. It revolved around her mastery. This is the point at which many men falter. Their uncertainty shattered them. Her curiosity is often misunderstood as true interest. They believed that her mere presence signifies her willingness to return. But watching is not pursuing. To like something is not to regret it. Texting lacks true appreciation. A woman who genuinely feels the weight of losing you doesn't leave behind mere traces. She clearly indicates it. She doesn't just send a casual "hey." She admits, "I made a mistake." She truly appreciates your post. She expresses that she longs for your presence. She actively anticipates your response. She battles for your focus. And until that moment arrives, there shall be silence. For it is in the silence that her questions linger. It is the act of questioning that drives her pursuit. Moreover, it is through questioning that true liberation is found. By the moment she finds the strength to acknowledge her mistakes, by the time she gathers the bravery to connect and reveal the truth, by the time she relinquishes her pride, you will have already moved forward. All this time, as she wrestled with her self-doubt, sought clarity, and battled her own thoughts, questioning whether she had erred, you were creating. Your attention was directed inward. You were working out at the gym. Your focus was on achieving your aspirations. You weren't idly lingering, hoping she'd determine your value in her life. You had already ascended to a realm beyond reach, and that will be the greatest regret she will ever experience. It's not merely about losing you. It's about losing the version of you that she never had the chance to encounter. When she attempts to draw you back in, she is not fond of this. She dislikes the sensation of defeat. She dislikes the sensation of having misjudged, of having erred, of allowing something precious to slip away. In her mind, she held the reins of control. She held the reins of this situation. She was convinced that by withdrawing and establishing some space, you would respond in a certain way. It seems you would be the one making the effort to mend things, to win her back, to demonstrate that your interest remains unwavering. The plan was set in motion. Yet, an unforeseen event unfolded that took her by surprise. You vanished, and that unsettles her. It penetrates her thoughts in a manner that nothing else ever could. This engenders a sense of unpredictability. Uncertainty is the one thing she absolutely cannot tolerate. Uncertainty has left her unsure of her position with you now. It signifies that she has lost her hold over your feelings. It suggests that she may have truly lost you. That does not align with her intentions. She believed she had an abundance of time ahead of her. She believed she could dip her toes in, gauge your reaction, and keep you hanging on just long enough to feel your presence. Yet, as your silence lingers, she increasingly bears the burden of her own choices. She begins to sense the void left by your lack of attention. What occurs when individuals sense the void of something they believed would always be within reach? They are filled with panic. However, she won't openly express that sentiment. She won't reach out to you and confess that she wishes she had chosen differently. She won't be sending a lengthy, heartfelt message to express regret for how she treated you. That would imply relinquishing authority. That would imply acknowledging her defeat. Instead, she will test you. For her, there is a singular truth she must uncover. Do you still hold any feelings? This is the moment when the initial test arises. It possesses a quiet elegance. Perhaps she revisits your stories once more. Perhaps she has an affinity for a vintage photograph. Perhaps she sends a brief message, something ambiguous, something secure. Hello, I trust this message finds you in good spirits. I just came across something that brought you to mind. It lacks any straightforwardness. It's not immediately apparent. However, it serves as an examination. She is curious about your reaction. She seeks to determine your emotional availability, to gauge whether you remain in a state of anticipation, and to assess if she still has hold over your thoughts. And the feeble-minded, he succumbs to the lure. Upon seeing the message, his heart leaps, and he responds without hesitation. He contemplates, this is the moment. In this instant, she comes to understand that she desires my return. But the moment she witnesses his swift reaction, she realizes she never truly let him go. She is aware that he is hers for the taking at any moment. She understands that she was never truly at risk of losing him from the very beginning. And just like that, she vanishes once more. For it was never truly about the absence of him. It was a matter of determining whether she still held sway over him. But when you choose not to respond, when you let her message linger without acknowledgement, when you resist the temptation to engage, that's precisely when the anxiety begins to creep in. For now, she finds herself without an answer. At this moment, she remains unaware of the thoughts swirling in your mind. At this moment, the weight of her loss is profoundly felt. So she makes another attempt. She amplifies the intensity. Perhaps she dispatches another message, one that is slightly more elaborate this time. Perhaps she evokes a memory, something she understands will resonate on an emotional level. Perhaps she crafts a subtle post, one intended to elicit a reaction. Perhaps she ventures even deeper. She engages in conversations with other guys merely to gauge your reaction. She goes to great lengths to elicit a response from you. A reaction signifies that she continues to hold sway over you. A reaction signifies that she retains the power to draw you back in at her convenience. Yet this is where your victory lies. You remain silent, offering no response. You refuse to engage in her scheme, for you are aware of her actions. This isn't about her desire to mend anything. This isn't really about her appreciating you, is it? This situation revolves around her sense of pride, her ego, and her desire for validation. And that is something you will never offer her again. When you cease to be her emotional refuge, the instant she genuinely senses your absence is the pivotal moment that compels her to choose. Does she battle for your presence, or has she come to terms with your absence? And here lies the unvarnished reality. If she never genuinely invested in you from the start, she will simply leave and not return. For she was never truly yours. She simply enjoyed the assurance of having you in her life. But if she genuinely feels remorse for losing you, if she acknowledges her error, if she comes to grips with the reality that she allowed a remarkable man to slip away, she won't offer mere breadcrumbs. She won't send an ambiguous message. She won't share subtle suggestions. She is bound to appear. She will express her regret unmistakably. She will express it directly. She will vie for your attention as you once vied for hers. And when that moment arrives, you hold the power. It's up to you to determine if she deserves a second chance. It's up to you to determine whether she deserves another opportunity. It's up to you to determine whether she still belongs in your life. By the time she reaches that moment, by the time her desperation drives her to seek your validation, you will have already left that chapter behind. That is the most significant lesson of all. When you cease the pursuit, when you shift your focus away, when you no longer adhere to her guidelines, you transform into the man she has sought all this time. Yet, by the moment she comes to understand, you have already vanished. That is the essence of real power. That embodies real self-respect. And that is precisely why she will always remember you. Fifth on the list is the art of mastering emotional detachment. Everything transforms the instant you let go. All things. When you cease the pursuit of validation, when you abandon the chase, when you no longer strive to prove your value to her, you transform into something that many will never achieve. Genuinely liberated. Detachment represents the pinnacle of strength. It represents the distinction between those who carve their own paths and those who navigate life in response to the feelings of others. This skill distinguishes those who achieve their desires from those who find themselves perpetually questioning why their efforts yield no results. The transformation in mindset elevates an individual from being governed to becoming the master of all aspects of life. Failing to master this will leave you perpetually vulnerable to the choices of others. You will forever be that person perched by your phone, anticipating her reply. You will forever be the man grappling with anxiety as she unexpectedly begins to withdraw. You will forever find yourself pondering, "What mistake did I make?" as she ventures through her days utterly unfazed by the world around her. She is not engaging in excessive contemplation. You exist. She is not fixating. You exist. She is not in pain. You indeed are. What is the reason behind that? Your belief has been shaped to think that the sole measure of your value lies in winning her back. However, the harsh reality is this: there's no need to win her back. There's no need to impress her. There is no need for you to demonstrate anything. You must release her. The instant you decide to do so, you reclaim every bit of strength that had slipped away from you. Women are not inclined to pursue men who exhibit emotional weakness. They do not pursue men who exhibit desperation. They refrain from pursuing men who are perpetually in search of their approval. They pursue power. They pursue assurance. They pursue the man who stands independent of their desires. For it is in the instant you no longer require her that you transform into a puzzle to be solved. You transform into something extraordinary. You transform into the man she wishes she had kept by her side, not the man she found it easy to leave behind, not the individual who pleaded for another opportunity, not the individual who persistently sent messages yearning for a reply, yet the man who turned his back and never glanced behind. He is the one who will occupy her thoughts during those quiet, solitary nights. He is the benchmark against whom she will measure every man that comes after. He is the man she will ponder with a sense of longing for the entirety of her days. Yet by the moment she comes to that understanding, you have already vanished. The essence of emotional detachment lies in that very concept. Let's be serious. Not for the purpose of manipulation, yet to prove to yourself that her validation is not essential for your completeness. Many men navigate their existence in pursuit of validation. They seek reassurance that they are sufficient. They seek validation of their value. They seek reassurance of their worth. What unfolds when you cease the pursuit of approval? What occurs when you cease relying on others to affirm your worth? What unfolds when you gaze into the mirror and come to the profound realization that all you require resides within you? That is the moment when everything transforms. That's the moment when people begin to regard you in a new light. That's the moment you transition from being an option to becoming a choice. The man who seeks no approval of her is the one she desires above all others. The individual who does not crave the spotlight is often the one who draws it the most. The individual who masters his emotions is the one who commands every space he enters. What's the most exciting aspect? Once you achieve emotional detachment, it transcends her entirely. It encompasses everything, every connection, every bond of companionship, every business transaction, every encounter you will experience throughout your life. When people come to understand that they cannot rattle you, that you remain beyond their influence, and that you refuse to engage in their manipulative tactics, they begin to regard you with a newfound respect. They begin to recognize you as a person of value. They begin to see that you stand apart from everyone else they've encountered. They are determined to hold on to it. In the contemporary landscape, significant numbers of individuals exhibit fragility. Many individuals find themselves in pursuit. Many individuals seem to crave recognition. Many individuals seek affirmation from others. Yet you remain untouched. Your ability to maintain emotional distance is truly commendable, and that renders you invulnerable. This goes beyond mere connections. This goes beyond mere dating. This concerns power, the power to turn away, the ability to master your own emotions, the ability to embrace your existence without seeking validation from others. Few men will ever possess such power. They will forever find themselves ensnared in the relentless pursuit of approval. Emotions will forever hold sway over them. They will forever find themselves in a state of reaction rather than taking the reins. But the instant you opt to disengage, the instant you decide to cease adhering to her dictates, the instant you resolve that you need no one's approval to recognize your own value, that is the instant you transform into the individual you were destined to become. And the most remarkable aspect is that when she comes to the realization of your absence, when the weight of her regret for leaving you settles in, when she finally finds the resolve to pursue you once more, you will have moved on, indifferent to her return. That is the ultimate triumph. The true reward was never her focus.
The true reward lies in the person you evolved into once you ceased your pursuit of it. Step into your power and embrace the journey of self-mastery. If you're prepared to seize control of your destiny and become the person who stands strong without seeking approval from others, then subscribe immediately. Support this channel. Your contribution empowers countless individuals to liberate themselves from the limiting mindset that holds them back. Before you leave, I urge each of you to comment, "I am untouchable." Craft it, compose it, claim it. From this moment onward, that is precisely who you shall become.